And now, an 8th special presentation.
This time on Art Beat Nation. Manholes as high art.
Well, the great works, I didn't know they were going to happen.
The natural world springs to life with hyper-real drawings.
There's an intimacy to it, and there's an immediacy to it.
Dancing offers hope and direction.
Whether or not they're bound for Broadway, we don't know, but the idea is be bound for something.
And elaborate designs crop up in unusual places.
It was kind of like you're a graffiti artist in some way.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Beat Nation. Funding for Art Beat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 by viewers like you. Thank you. While walking down the street, you may not notice the manholes beneath your feet. But when Central Florida artist Bobby Mastrangelo transforms them into pieces of art, it is difficult not to appreciate their inherent simplicity and beauty. Here's a look.
You put something down that represents your inner soul, and it's down there in paper, and then up on the wall, other people can enjoy it. And you feel fulfilled that you've done something outside of yourself. Well, the great works, I didn't know they were going to happen. It just evolved. I grew up in an atmosphere of We Love Renoir and the Impressionists and so on. And so when I went back to college to study art, the professor was giving me low marks, and I didn't like that. I'm competitive. So I said, what do I need to do? He said, you need a theme or a style or nobody will know who you are. I said, manhole covers. It's like Eureka, that's what I'm going to do. And that was 1979. And once I found out that that was a theme that nobody else was doing, and I entered a show in Manhattan called New Art in New York, and people advised me, they said, well, try your new theme. I entered it and they said, congratulations, you're in it. And I had 6 weeks to hurry up and do this great manhole cover artwork, so I just got started. I only had a few pieces and to show them, and then I had to have a whole wall. And that got started, and it's been going on ever since. I start the manhole cover with an idea of which one I want to do. First I take pictures of it the way it is, especially if it's got litter with it, and I've got that documentation. Then I brush off the litter and secure the corners, and then I have a kneeling pad, and I have a regular rubbing block crayon to take the rubbing. Now I'm getting a little bit older. I see if I can get someone else to do the rubbing for me. With carbon paper, I trace the rubbing onto the foam. And sometimes there are various layers. I have to plan how I'm going to hang it and how I'm going to work it all out. But I carve with those little snap-off knives and use a knife sharpener in between and carve out the various parts of the manhole cover. Then I cover the whole piece with either that plaster bandage wrap that they use for making casts, either that, or I use cheesecloth. Then after that's done, it gets painted with cement. Then I take it outside and throw some more sand on, put some glue down, throw some sand, stuff in a little bit of moss, anything. Sometimes I'm out there sweeping up the grit on the streets and bring it back in and dump it in the crevices of my manhole cover. It's fun watching it evolve, and people, like when we were in San Francisco and I did a rubbing of their manhole cover, it was a whole crowd around. They were videotaping it and watching it. It becomes, and anybody who's gone out to do a rubbing has an adventure. They do it for me. They say everybody thinks they're crazy, but they all stand and watch them do it. It's probably whatever I'm working on at the time I love, because that absorbs all my imagination right then. I love the one from North Carolina, the cross cannons and the palm tree, because that has a whole legend to it, and I love the design of it. And sometimes that outside spirit captures your imagination, and that goes into it all. I think it's a great experience.
The vistas of New York's Hudson River Valley have long attracted talented artists looking for inspiration, and Joanne Barthelmess is no exception. Join us now as she walks us through her creative process and the woods that inspire her work.
My name is Joanne Barthelmess. I'm a visual artist. I work with both acrylic paint and pastel. I use the acrylic as a very light underpainting. I use 3 different types of pastel, a hard, a pencil, and a soft. Sometimes I work with it wet. When in college, I took classes in painting, drawing, and printmaking, and I tended to concentrate in printmaking. And then I had an interim year when I was getting my portfolio together. I realized at that point that I really felt an affinity for drawing. There's an intimacy to it, and there's an immediacy to it that I really liked. So when I ultimately applied for a program, I went for drawing. When I go out and I'm going to start a piece and I'm going to get references. I go out, it's really important that I get the reference material from my own land. I go out at a certain time of year. I'm really looking for that oblique light that tends to be in the fall. I think it's imbued with a quality of this sort of ineffable portent that's in there. I'm looking for those cast shadows because I've realized there's some really interesting things that are going on there. When I push the light value scale, there's something going on there. I think a lot of times light can be very blinding and obscuring. It's kind of like sometimes very positive experiences in life. And it's in the shadows that things start to get revealed. Capturing that beauty that is just so momentary and fleeting. Especially in an age of technology when people are looking at screens and things like this, just going out into the woods and seeing those illuminated shadows is, there's value in that. I really like to use paper. It's got a wonderful surface. I actually work on a French printmaking paper, and I go all the way to the edges. And when I present my work, it's in the frame, it's very important to me to use a hinge float rather than a cut mat. I would like to push that duality and tension of this piece being both an illusion and an object. The objectness of it is very important to me. I remember when I was in college, a professor saying that a lot of times in an artist's work, there's a thread of continuity that runs throughout the work, even though stylistically they may change and their series may change, there's often that common thread. And when I first heard this, it was very intriguing because I was on the threshold of that and just wondering what that might be for me. And now, these decades later, the thing that has just remained constant and true for me is that process of taking images from nature and discovering the metaphor in that. That runs through my work going back years and years and years, and I've learned to really trust that process.
For more information, visit jbarthelmessart.com. Up next, we learn how dance literally is changing the lives of some very talented young people. Take a look at how the students from the National Dance Institute of New Mexico are making exciting moves, both on the stage and in the classroom.
And over the top.
The warm-ups, the makeup, the proud parents streaming in. It looks like the usual end-of-the-year recital, but this one is a little different. It's the culmination of a year's work at the National Dance Institute of New Mexico, a program that aims to engage and motivate children to strive for excellence using the arts. 74% of the dancers come from low-income families, 85% are either Hispanic or Native American. Catherine Oppenheimer is the program's founding artistic director.
We really target the schools and communities that need our programs the most. So that means high poverty, rural, isolated, the cities too, but kids who wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to experience this kind of program.
Oppenheimer once performed with the New York City Ballet and with legendary classical dancer Jacques d'Amboise. In 1976, he started the National Dance Institute in New York to expose inner-city children to ballet. He convinced Oppenheimer to teach and eventually to bring the program to New Mexico. NDI New Mexico, as it's known, offered lessons this past year to nearly 8,000 children in more than 80 public schools across the state.
This is the perfect count 8. She's smiling. Her hands are up.
4th and 5th graders are taught during the school day.
Oh!
After school, there are lessons for older, more advanced dancers, as well as preschoolers. Most classes are free of charge to students, and no one is turned away because his or her family can't pay. It costs about $5 million a year to run the organization. Some of that money is raised at galas like this one in Santa Fe. Support comes from foundations, local businesses, and individual donors. Executive Director Russell Baker explains the mission.
We believe that it takes energy and effort to do something with excellence. So what we teach, we call the Core 4. Work hard, do your best, never give up, and be healthy. We think if you do those things, whether you're learning a dance step, taking a math test, or applying for a job, that's what it takes to be successful.
This year's review for Santa Fe area schools is called Broadway Bound. It celebrates the magic of musicals and showcases 500 children on one stage. Along the way, it weaves in some life lessons about perseverance and teamwork. One scene recognizes each and every dancer.
What we say to kids is that there's this big spotlight and the light is shining, and it's shining right in the center of the stage, and it's their moment to go jump and fly through that spotlight.
13-year-old 7th grader Laura Balderrama beams when she describes that moment.
When each person gets the shot in a spotlight where you could just show off and then just let everybody look into you, and then it's just awesome. It feels like you're shining out, letting all your energy out and then making people smile, and that's pretty cool.
The quest for excellence goes beyond the footlights. New Mexico's schools get low grades on national ratings, and in 2013, the state ranked dead last in a study that measured the educational, economic, social, and physical well-being of children. But NDI students are raising the bar with higher test scores in reading, science, and math, and improved fitness. Those were the findings of an independent study commissioned by the organization comparing 4th through 7th graders within the same school district. 16-year-old Emery Chacon is a case in point. He's been dancing since 4th grade. He lives with his grandfather, a retired auto mechanic, who also cares sometimes for Emery's 3-year-old niece.
He's learned through the dance that, there's rules you have to abide by. So I think that has helped him, and will help him through life when he does get a job and start working. Well, he knows that they expect his full attention and his devotion to whatever profession he decides to get into. And
yeah, my grades before they were moderate from C's to C's and D's, but now actually with NDI it's actually improved to B's and A's in most of my classes.
Santa Fe High School English teacher Davida Garcia described the impact she's seen in the classroom.
That confidence, expression, participation in class discussion, critically thinking about characters in the plays and how they interact, and then writing about it. And he feels really confident to stand up and read out loud and to express his feelings, which is a tough thing for kids in 9th grade.
The graduation rate at Santa Fe High is only 62%, below the state average, which in turn is one of the lowest in the nation.
You guys are so good.
Santa Fe's mayor thinks programs like this one will help stem the dropout crisis.
We know that the more kids are exposed to arts, the greater an opportunity they have to stay in school, and we know if they stay in school, they're going to graduate. Equally important, they open up their mind. Science, technology, engineering, math is important, but we need to add arts to that, and when we add it, we create a citizen prepared to meet the world.
Back on stage, the cast includes more than just kids. At one point, classroom teachers and a handful of parents join in. Among them was Laura's dad, who emigrated from Mexico 12 years ago.
Really, it's very exciting when people applaud you. It makes you feel like you've done a good job. I don't know how to say it, but for me, really, it's very gratifying to be here. And it makes me feel very, very good.
Also in the company are some City of Santa Fe firefighters who know how to boogie.
Firefighters are heroes, and so we have 6 heroes performing with kids. Kids are looking up to these men and women, and they're big and they're strong, and these are young people that want to grow up and be big and strong and do something important. It's powerful.
Captain Carlos Nava got the bug for dancing from his daughters.
They know what a commitment is now, because the time they put into this and the hard work they put into this, they know what it's like to really commit to something.
Nava, like most parents of these children, said he couldn't afford tuition at a private dance academy. As the program celebrates its 20th anniversary, a few students have made it to bigger stages as professional dancers. But that's not the ultimate goal.
Whether or not they're bound for Broadway, we don't know, but the idea is be bound for something. Figure out what that is and work hard and do your best and don't give up until you get there.
And that's a lesson that will stick with these young dancers long after the applause dies down and the curtain closes.
Finally, we ask the question, who is Danger Dust? This mysterious duo is leaving behind elaborate chalk designs on their college campus without ever revealing their identities. Up next, we follow the dust and try to unravel the mystery.
We both just love the idea of taking something that's like ordinary and then turning it into something that's like special.
Yeah. Chalk is just so, it's in every classroom. You've been exposed to it since you were a little kid, and asking something to do something that it's not intended to do. When we first started it, just no one knew who was doing it just because like it was so new, and it was kind of like we were graffiti artists in some way, like, oh, who did that chalkboard? And it felt very like mischievous, and so we wanted to come up with a name that was like sort of played on that. Like, yeah, it's graffiti, I guess, but it's like not at all at the same time.
Yeah. We are both advertising graphic design, and we have minors in copyright.
I mean, neither of us had ever done chalk before, and it just seemed like a fun, easy thing to do. And when we first started, we didn't think it was going to be this big. Yeah, we'll come in, like we'll do the planning beforehand.
It takes at least a day to plan, just to like figure out like what quote you're searching for.
We have a catalog of quotes, and this one's been one that we've been wanting to do for a while. I don't know, we just thought of like, we brainstormed like kitchen utensils that would be fun to draw, and
yeah,
obviously gotta have some butter in there. We added the book and the cloth, like the towel on the bottom and the top at the last minute.
Because we wanted to fill those spaces just because they felt a little empty.
I didn't want to put eggs on there just because I thought they'd be a boring shape. We We both love to draw, but neither one of us are really great at drawing like
without a reference.
Yeah, if someone asks us to draw like a person or a dog or something, we would both need to look at a reference. But with letters, you can just draw them, and they can be as abstract or as not as you want, and
That's just fun.
that's what I love about it.
Just pure chalking time is usually 5 or 6 hours. One of the boards took like 9 hours, and then we're coughing up chalk dust.
We close the doors so that while we're working, no one can like come in and see. This is the only classroom that has locks on both of the doors, so that's why we've staked this one out. This week was the first time that we tried sharpening the chalk.
Yeah, sharpening the chalk and then paintbrushes. That was fun. Well, flour just felt like a very like light, airy, kind of fluffy thing, and blending it felt more natural with the brushes.
You know, you get a different effect from it, like when you're using your hands to blend it, when you're using a cloth to blend it, when you're using a Q-tip, and we realize now with a brush.
We use Q-tips. We've used a lot of Q-tips.
But they're nice for like, especially like if you get them wet, you can like clean a sharp edge with them. The fact that it's only a week helps you just like let it go. Really, that's my favorite part of it, the fact that it's like gone. Yeah. It's kind of liberating because like the work you do like for your school projects, it's so long and drawn out and extended, but with this it's like something new every week. It's chalk.
Yeah, it's never gonna be perfect. Mm-hmm. Breaking away from your comfort zone is a good thing.
Some of the first quotes we did were quotes that like one of our teachers told us in class that they really influenced me, and I guess part of it was just wanting to share that. It's fun working with your hands and getting your hands dirty and like feeling exhausted, like when you're done with it, putting your whole body into something.
I can be doing 4 things at once while I'm working on the computer, but with chalk, you have to just be doing like chalk.
Because you have Q-tips and brushes and chalk and rags in your hands.
And you have to like go up in the corner and stand on a chair and then go down to the other corner to fix that smudge, you know. We're an anonymous duo of chalk artists, and every week we create a new chalkboard, and after that week is over, we come back and erase it and do another one.
For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find feature videos and information on the Arizona art scene. Funding for Artbeat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you.